Hiya, how you guys doing? Today we're on sausage casserole, so strap in. First off, I'm going to seal some sausages. So I just want to get a little bit of colour on my sausages, so I'm just going to do it in a frying pan here. So today's session is part of our low and slow, or Food Punks Go Low and Slow sessions. So we're using a slow cooker, this bad boy on the end, largely because it saves on energy, so it will mean cheaper cooking costs. Also good for the environment. So this is part of our series of low and slow. So you could avoid this step. You could put sausages directly into the slow cooker if you want, but browning and colouring the sausages will bring out more flavour. And that's true of pretty much any meat and anything that we're going to be doing over this next few days. So I'm using 12 sausages. I've just got cheap and cheerful sausages from a local supermarket. The nicer your sausages, the nicer your sausage casserole. But these will do just fine. I think part of what we're trying to do is around sharing some budget tips. You'll notice in my frying pan here that the sausages have gone into. I've not got any oil. Sausages are terrifyingly full of fat. So the oil that will leak out the sausages will be more than adequate to cook them with. I'll just give my hands a quick wash. So, while my sausages are browning, I'm going to crack on with preparing the vegetables and the other herbs and such like that are going into the casserole. So first up, I want to show you how to dice a leek, actually, some first thing. So first off, I need a knife that actually works. Here we are, that will do. Get rid of the sausage knife. So I think one of the key things about cooking, one of the key things that chefs maybe bring to the table when they're cooking is around hygiene. I think that's a sort of overlooked important aspect of nice, tasty food. Leeks are a real culprit for harbouring grit and mud and, you know, slugs, things that you don't really want. So today I want to show you a technique for washing hard root vegetables like leeks that also works really well for salad leaves as well. So all I'm doing here is I'm half filling a bowl with some cold water, and then I'm going to chop my leek. We're only using half a leek for this recipe, and the recipe will be in the description. There'll be a link to it as well. I'm using half of the leek, so I'm just going to take the root end off, just slicing that off. And because I'm only using half, I'm going to use the white half of the leek. So both ends of the leek, perfectly acceptable. This end is a little bit sweeter, this end's a little bit tougher and chewier. So I'd probably use the greener, darker end of the leek for something like a leek and potato soup. Front end, root end of the leek, I would say a little bit sweeter. I mean, you're in sort of onion territory, same family as onion. So I'm going to cut it in half along the length. I'm going to cut it in half again, and again like this. And I'm just going to chop along it like this. And I'm going to immerse this chopped leek in the cold water that I've got here. And this is just a more thorough way of washing my leek or salad leaves or whatever I'm doing. And then what's really important is that once you've washed your leek or your salad leaves, you know, whatever it is that you're washing, that instead of pouring all of your manky your now manky sort of dirty water into the colander. Instead, lift up whatever it is that you've washed and put that in your colander, and that way you're not getting all of your dirty water all over it again. So, here we go. So I'm going to show you, quite often I think when people are preparing leeks at home, I'll show you another way that it does work but isn't as good, and that's when you cut a leek along its length. Well, that's interesting. I thought that was shot there. So what you'll see inside the leek here, this is what you're washing for. So you don't want this mud, you don't want this muck, you certainly don't want potential E. coli, which you can get. Okay. Next up, we're going to use 4 cloves of garlic. This is a fine chop on the garlic. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So just give me sausages a little bit of a stir. You'll see that the oil is starting to release in the pan here. I'm using a pretty decent non-stick pan, but to be honest, even a sort of Mickey Mouse pan will do the job here. All I'm looking to do is colour these sausages, so they're coming along nicely. There we are. I'm not looking to cook these sausages either, so don't worry, it's not critical that they're cooked all the way through or anything like that. All we want is to just get that colour on them. There we are. So, while the sausages are going, we're going to finally chop this garlic. There we go. So, just, and look, now and again you'll get bits of garlic like this. Look at that, horrible. I'm not using that. Let's see if this is any better. Yeah, here we go. That's what we want in a garlic clove, white, not brown. So I'm peeling it. All I've done with the garlic is I just slice either end of the clove and peel it, like so. Yeah, see. And I want these garlic cloves, I want them sort of finely chopped. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the flat of the knife to smash the clove. So, like so, on each of these. And then I'm just going over it with a knife and chopping like so. So, we want it fairly finely chopped so that when you're eating this sausage casserole afterwards, you're not getting massive spikes and big chunks of garlic. We want the garlic to be we want the garlic to go through the casserole fairly, we want it to go all the way through it. So yeah, that's my garlic. Just have a wee check on my bangers. Starting to get there now. So, good to say as well, heat-wise, I've got this, I'm using an induction hob here, but I've got this on about 1/4 power, so I'm not wanting this to be, I'm not wanting them to burn basically while I'm preparing the veg and getting all my other stuff together. Here we are. Now, we don't have gas in our food punch kitchen, so this is why I'm sealing in the frying pan on here. The slow cookers, in fact the slow cooker that I'm using here actually has a removable sleeve that can be used on a gas hob. So you could in essence do one pot cookery just using the inner sleeve, put that on a gas hob. You could brown your sausages in there instead, but it won't work on an induction hob. Okay, so while that's coming together, I'm going to measure out I'm going to measure out some chicken stock actually for the that's going to go in there. So I've got for my chicken stock, I'm using 400 mils of chicken stock here, but and I've got a measuring jug here. I would say to you, not everyone's got a measuring jug, so if you've got one, great. Even if you've got one, sometimes they're not always calibrated brilliantly, you know? So if you want some fairly accurate measuring, what I find the best thing to do is to use a set of scales. So what I am doing for this one here is I've got the measuring jug on the scales, and I'm going to add into that my stock cube, and I'm going to add my boiling water, and I'm just going to bring it up to the weight of 400 grams. So 1 gram equals 1 milliliter. It works for water, it works for milk, it works for oil, and it's just quite simple, straightforward way of measuring. So, also important to say as well, I'm not sponsored by Knorr. Other brands of stock cube are available, but I would caution people against the very, very cheap stock cubes that you can buy. They're very, very salty. The flavour's not always great, so I would say stock cubes are probably one of the things that you're better off not compromising on. There we are, bangers are starting to get that. There we are. So all I'm doing with the stock here, I'm just whisking up the cube in with the boiling water. There we go. We'll have a little tidy up. There we are. So these are getting there now. So next up, I'm going to get the rest of my ingredients together. I'm just going to put them in a bowl. Just make life a little bit easier for myself. So I'm using smoked paprika. So I've got a teaspoon of smoked paprika. These are quite wee spoons. You'll see this sometimes. These get muddled for teaspoons. It's not a teaspoon. It looks more like an egg spoon to me. So I'm going to use one and a half of these. There we are. 1.5 of the smoked paprika. I've got some mixed herbs as well. So I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of mixed herbs. So these are dried mixed herbs that I'm using here. Absolutely welcome to use fresh mixed herbs if you want. Use some rosemary, use some thyme, use some marjoram. You could use some oregano in there. Here we are, so I'm going to do the same. So instead of 2, because it's a wee spoon, I'm going to give it 3. There we are. We need a couple of bay leaves. So again, dried bay leaves, absolutely great. In our case, we're lucky enough to have a bay tree growing in the garden. So we've just grabbed a couple from there. And then we need some tomato puree. So I'm after, here we are. I'm after 2 tablespoons of tomato puree. So a tablespoon is 2 dessert spoons. A dessert spoon is 2 teaspoons. Yada yada yada. So 2 tablespoons of tomato puree is 4 dessert spoons. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, sausages, I've got enough colour on my sausages here. These have been sealed, so I'm going to put these into my slow cooker. So the slow cooker I've had already preheating. So I'm going to put the sausages in first into my slow cooker. Now I've got nothing else in here, important to note. I've not got any oil or anything like that. And again, that's just due largely to the amount of oil that sausages do contain. So here we are. So I'm just going to tip my sausages in first of all. And I'll bring this round so that people can see, you can all see what we're doing. There we are. So I've got my sausages in first, and now I'm just going to add all of my other ingredients. I've got my leeks. I'm going to put these in. I've got my garlic. In that goes. I've got my herbs and my smoked paprika and tomato puree and bay leaves. In they go. Just close that up while I'm not using that. And to that, I'm going to add my chicken stock and 1 tin of chopped tomatoes. So I'm just going to give this a bit of a stir in here. I'm just trying to combine everything together. My stock's going to go in here. There we are. Chicken stock. In he goes. And sometimes you get a little bit of the cube left at the bottom, and just try and get all of that out. There we are. And 1 tin of chopped tomatoes. Here we go, in they go. So this is definitely more of a Mediterranean-y sort of style tomato casserole than a sort of root vegetable number. Here we are. And finally, we're going to add a packet of baby boilers in there, baby boiled potatoes. So, we'll get these in here. Here we are. Now, if I can show these to camera, these are actually quite small. So you do get quite a bit of variety with sort of small potatoes like this. These are small. These are absolutely perfect. In they go, baby boilers. Sometimes you might get these potatoes and they're a lot bigger. Like sometimes they might sell a baby potato and it's actually quite a big size. If that is the case, you know, you want to cut them in half. You want to halve them. So it's all coated with the tomato. It's all got the chicken stock. It's got the sausages. It's got the leek and tomato all through it. There we are. Now I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to leave this cooking out here for 3 hours. When I come back to it, when I come back to this in 3 hours, we're going to add chopped red peppers and butter beans. Okay, so our sausage casserole has been cooking now for 3 hours. It's now time to add in the bacon, the red peppers and the butter beans. So I'm going to kick off with the red peppers. I'm not worried about chopping these within 1 inch of their lives. Just a rough chop will be fine. It's quite a rustic sort of casserole stew this. So first off, really important, always give the peppers and soft veg, courgettes, that sort of stuff, a bit of a wash. They carry all sorts of dust. They sit around in the supermarket as well, gathering dust and getting sort of touched by everybody. So, all I'm doing, just a quick dunk under the cold tap, cut them in half, ripping out the seeds, and I'm just putting the seeds in there. And I'm just going to give these peppers a very, very rough chop. Look at that. So I'm cutting it, what am I doing? Cutting it in 4 along the length, and then I think we're going to go the same again. 3, 4, 5 along the width. Here we are. Really doesn't matter. I'm not looking for, you know, perfect uniformity here or anything like that. Just a rough chop. So all I'm going to do, once I've got my peppers chopped, I'm just going to chuck them into the stew. So the peppers themselves, add quite a bit of liquid, quite a bit of moisture to the casserole. So here we go. And it goes. We're now going to add, we've got some bacon, so I'm just going to put the pan on the heat. You could use the same pan that you were browning your sausages in. To be fair, you could probably brown your bacon at the same time as you brown your sausages. It wouldn't be the end of the world. All sort of helps save on washing up. So all I'm going to do with the bacon, just giving it a rough chop. So just a very rough chop. I'm going to give it a little bit of a fry in that frying pan. And chuck that in. There we are, that's 150 grams of bacon, I've got that. Or roughly half of a supermarket packet of streaky bacon. Obviously, if you're able to shop locally and support your local butcher, that is good too. There we are. So final step for me, while that bacon starts frying, I'm just gonna open a tin of butter beans. I'm going to drain them in a colander here. So the butter beans are sat in a sweetish, briny sort of solution. I don't really want that, to be honest. So I'm just going to give it a quick drain in a colander and then just a quick rinse with the cold tap. I'll let that drain there. Bacon's coming along nicely. Got a wooden spoon here. I just give this a bit of a. There we go. Look at that. So that I could have probably gone at this with a little bit more finesse. I could have fanned out the bacon a little bit. You know, I could have taken a little bit of time. I guess this is not very pretty cooking. The other thing as well, you see I didn't put any oil in there. No need for oil, especially when you're using streaky bacon. Got a high fat content in the bacon anyway, so the amount of oil that the amount of fat that this releases as we fry is more than enough. So that's almost it. While that bacon just does the last few seconds of frying, I'm literally going to tip my butter beans in. There we go. In goes the bacon. And finally a stir. So just give this a good stir through. You can see in here that my potatoes are doing nicely. Potatoes have softened. Oh, honestly, I wish you could smell this. I'm not trying to show off, but I think I might be a culinary genius. Right. There we go. So this is what we've got. What we've got is something very, very rustic here, like this. Honestly, we've got on a recipe here that this will feed 4, but honestly, when I say it'll feed 4, you know, it'll feed me and 3 of my big fat hungry mates, you know. There's plenty of eating in this, you know. And this is absolutely not necessary by any stretch, but I'm gonna just top mine off with a little bit of chopped sage. There we go, so just a little bit of sage on the top, that will bring a bit of flavour and a bit of colour, brings that to life. There we are, folks. Sausage, butter bean, pepper, and all sorts of stuff, casserole. Knock yourselves out.